Hi friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you had a great day. Today was a day of rain. It was supposed to rain all day, and I think it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow as well. I could be wrong. But anyways, yesterday it was kind of overcast too, and while my husband and I were out, I said, you know what? I really want to go to a thrift store. And he didn't have a problem because I haven't been to a thrift store in years. I think it's been like a little over 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. So I said to him, I said, I'm really kind of interested. And I said, when we went up past Laconia, I said, there was one up there that I was interested in stopping by. So you want to go and check it out? And so we did. And part of the reason I have used thrift stores in the past, why I will use them in the future, and I haven't done them for a while because basically I really don't need much. So, but there were some things that I wanted. And so he said, sure, let's go. So we went for the ride, and it was actually a really nice ride. It wasn't, there was a few spots of rain, and this was yesterday. So we stopped in, and I ended up getting this basket, and it was exactly what I was looking for, and it was only $2. And the reason I say only $2 is because, well, first of all, I'm going to use it. What I was looking for is this will hold the facial handkerchiefs that I want to have that will be in the living room. I just wanted a basket to put them in. So I told my husband, I said, I think these are going to work really nice. So I got that. But what I was looking for also was a bowl, like a heavy base for a bowl for the chickens, because I didn't want them using my Fiesta bowls anymore. Well, I couldn't find any. And so I decided, okay, we're just not going to worry about that. And then I was in there and I just started browsing. One of the things that I did go to is the men's department. I really like to shop in the men's department for two reasons. I like for at home, I like to wear loose clothes. So I went and I saw a beautiful flannel shirt. Now, and I won't say the name of this thrift store because, yeah, they get donations and so forth, and I don't want to downplay them at all. But what frustrated me was this flannel shirt, which I really wanted, but I decided not to because the price they had on it was actually the same price I can buy it new. So I'm like, this isn't a deal. And when I go to a thrift store, I go there because items have previously been used or worn or whatever the case may be, and I'm okay as long as it's in good shape. And the shirt was in good shape. So I decided, no, I'm not going to get it. And that's okay. I didn't leave disheartened. I mean, well, maybe I was a little because I really liked the flannel shirt. And I wear all kinds of flannels in the wintertime. And so, I just let it go. And then I came across, I was going through another aisle, and I came across these t-shirts, and they're made in the United States. And I don't know what the logo is for, but I do know that the brand is made in the United States, so I was kind of happy about that. And they employ a lot of people. So I didn't care what the logo was. This shirt, what happened was, apparently a company had done a bunch of logos for somebody, and they just never picked it up. So they ended up having to donate them, which they're right off my gain. And they were priced a little bit higher, but by the time I got there, they were only $1.50 each. So these were in the men's department. I picked up a gray and a green medium for me, and I asked David, I said, David, do you want one? Because I said, these are pretty inexpensive. And he goes, no, I don't need any t-shirts. I said, they're only $1.50. He goes, okay. He goes, then I won't feel bad if I ruin it. And that's the nice thing about thrift shop clothing, is that you don't have to worry if something gets ruined. Although these are really nice, I don't want them to get ruined. But if they do, you can't cry over something like that. And then the other thing that I found, but to get back to these are something like I would enjoy wearing, just bumming around the house, as well as, go to bed. And sometimes we wear t-shirts underneath other layers to stay warm. And this is a nice 100% cotton that will, it's really, really soft, that will keep us warm. And if my husband ends up not wearing his, I'll wear his too. We get different sizes, but I don't care. So what else I got, and I was really pleased because a lot of items in this department, which is their linen department, a lot of them were kind of ratty. They were overpriced, But I came across this. This is a top sheet, so there's no elastic in it. It's really pretty, and it's soft. It's a soft 100% cotton, and I didn't mind getting it because it was made in Pakistan. So I got that. The only thing is I didn't like the scent of the washing detergent the person used, but at least they washed it, so I know they're clean. But on the other hand, I wash everything because I'll start sneezing if I'm even near that. But I'm not going to use it for bedding. I'm actually going to be using it. I might either make pajamas, a nightgown, or just a shirt, even like a t-shirt type thing. I haven't decided. I just love the fabric, and I knew that this is perfect. You can also use, for those of you who, you can sometimes use sheets for the back of your quilts. And I know a lot of quilters say, don't do that. Well, you know what? In times like today, where things are tight, or times like when I started out sewing years ago, money's tight. So you just kind of try to be frugal, and when you don't have the resources, you do the next best thing. And if you can get a full-size sheet in good quality at a thrift store for $4, you can't go wrong, because it's the width and the length of what you need for a quilt. So I don't worry about people who say that I'm doing it all wrong. Will that be used for the backing of a quilt? No. I have some other ideas for it, so I'm kind of excited that I found it. And but more importantly, I really am all excited about this $2 purchase. So all in all, we got there. I didn't find anything for the chickens, and so I may have to order them their own Fiesta bowl. But you know what? I paid $6 for 4 shirts. The sheet was 4, so that's 10 plus 2. I spent $12 at the thrift store, and I came home and I felt like I won the lottery. I know that's kind of odd, I know. So on the way home, I said, "Hun, let's stop at Hobby Lobby." But before we went to Big Lots. I haven't been in Big Lots, I don't know how long. We have a Job Lots in town, and I consider them similar stores. But don't ask somebody at Big Lots, well, you're kind of like Job Lots, aren't you? They say, don't talk about them. That's not our... But I'll tell you, I will not go back to that store for a couple of reasons. One is their pricing is nowhere near competitive to our local grocery store. David was looking at something, and he says, "Do you mind if I get this?" I said, "I don't care." And it wasn't something I wanted. It was something he asked for. And I said, "But you can get it cheaper at the grocery store." And he goes, "No, because prices have been going up, it's really kind of hard to keep track." So he got them. And so later on the way home, we stopped at the grocery store, and I said, "See, I told you." He spent 20 cents more. But that's the thing that we need to be aware of. And I'm not saying that to insult my husband. I adore him too much to insult him intentionally. But what I try to be aware of myself is how they're pricing things. So, but I ended up having to use the ladies' room, and it was disgusting. I will not go there again. I'm sorry. If that room needs to be clean, I know it may not be spotless, but it was disgusting. So I won't go to that store again. But unless I have to shop, and I will never use their bathroom again. But the other reason is as I was going through, everything I looked at, there was some good quality items, but they were really overpriced compared to other areas where I can buy it. But the market is such, and this is the key of what I'm trying to say, the market today is such that people are overpricing because they can. And I think that, even for myself as a seamstress, even when I'm selling to consumers, the one area that I can cut back on, or try to, is my material expense. And when I can't, the product ends up being expensive for the consumer. And I take great pride in what I do. I haven't raised my personal labor rates in a long time. And so I try to make sure that we have quality fabrics. But when a customer has asked me to do things in the past, "Would you make this? And this is the kind of material I want," I said, "You go get the material and you come back to me." Even prior to now, material's been expensive and people will not do it. They want a product that is competitive to these lesser quality stores. And I don't mean to insult the stores, because that's where some of us have to shop at times. But what I want to say is, be really careful in what you're purchasing at these stores that are thrifty. And I mean, they're not used stuff, that there are products. And I was looking at some of the stuff, and they do have like KitchenAid can openers. I was going to get another can opener. Mine's getting old, and I thought, it won't hurt to have a backup can opener. But they're not cheap anymore. And not that they were ever cheap, but they're no longer in an affordable range that makes sense to me. So when I walked around, and David even noticed, he goes, "This doesn't even make sense." And I said, "No, it doesn't." But he did come across some interesting items. It made us laugh, because some of the things that they put on the shelves are a little silly. And yeah, I always wonder who the people are that buy these unique items, because I'm kind of like a down-to-earth type person. And so we ended up not buying anything, just a few things that he picked up, and then we came home. But nope, I'm sorry, I had one other place I went to. So we, as we were coming out, I said, their prices weren't that great. You would think that this big lots type thing would be less costly, because you go in there and it looks like a place that is not well kept, and it truly isn't. The floors, everything was not as clean as you might see at a Target, a Kohl's. I haven't been in these stores in a long time, so I don't know, but they used to be very clean. I know Target used to be spotless, but you go into this big lots, and you can tell it's not the same type of product, but the prices are the same. So we ended up leaving. I was hoping to get, again, I went over there thinking, okay, I could get something for the chickens, just for the food to put out there, and if it broke, I would care less. But I couldn't find anything at a fair price. So on the way home, we stopped off at Hobby Lobby. Now, I used to enjoy going to Hobby Lobby, not to the degree that many others do. I've stopped enjoying the craft stores as much as others. Others love to go to them, and I used to. I will not deny that I used to love to go to Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, and but Hobby Lobby was on the way home from where we were coming. So I said, "Dave, let's just go in there just for a minute. Maybe I can find something there," because they have a tendency to have some unique things, and maybe I could find a basket. I found lots of baskets, and they were, oh my heavens, I didn't know they have gotten that expensive. And I mean, eventually they'll have a 50 or 40% off their baskets and stuff. And my husband says, "Are you sure you don't want one?" I said, "I'm not going to pay that kind of money for it." I said, "If they have sales, that means that their sale price is still a price that they will not lose money on." So I said, "I'm good. I don't need to buy the baskets today." And honestly, that's the way I've always shopped. And I'm not in a hurry, because I told him, I said, I can actually make it won't be a basket. It wouldn't be wooden. I mean, although I asked him, I said, "Could you make this wooden one for me?" And so, I mean, I might convince him to do that, but there's an idea that I have to use some of my fabric to make some baskets to do what I'm doing. And but he felt bad for me because I didn't pick a basket out. But I said, no, I said, I'm not getting paid yet. My retirement doesn't start for another month. But even still, I'm not going to get rich off my retirement. And I've always been one to stretch my money and make sure it is something that we can use and that we will use, and not just for one time. And those baskets I will use if I go back and for sale and stuff. So then I went over to the fabric and yarn area, which is typical of me to go to. And I mean, I picked up something for my grandkids. So it was 50% off. It was $1. I said, I can do this. And I'm not really a cheap person. It's just, I just didn't, I guess, I just wasn't in the mood. I couldn't find what I was looking for, really. So I went over to the cloth and the yarn. And I was really kind of excited because the yarn was 30% off. which I kind of like. But because I haven't been in that store for so long, the prices had gone up, and I was, again, disappointed. And these were acrylic yarns, which they're pretty. I'll show you that I did get 3 because I didn't get what I normally would, because I usually get enough to make a few hats and an Afghan. And I just got enough for a few hats. But aren't they pretty? I think these will be nice little boy hats, and I figured I might make one for myself. I don't know. But I thought they were pretty, and I figured 30% off, I'll get 3 of them. And my husband was quite surprised, because I do. I generally buy enough to make 1 or 2 quilts. I mean Afghans. And to do that, you have to buy quite a few. So I said, no. I said, I still have some left over from a couple years ago. I'll finish using that up, which is actually a good thing. So I'm not upset about that. So then I went over to the fabric, and I noticed that none of them were on sale except the fall and Christmas. Okay, so I just focused there. And I did find one fabric that was really nice quality, but it didn't have a print that reached out to me. It did, but it didn't. It was in my cart. It was out of my cart, and I said, nope, I don't need that. So I saw some fall fabric. I'm not a Halloween person. I'm a fall person. So my fall decorations incorporate Thanksgiving. So that's how I decorate for the season. Oh, it's fall time. I need to get some of that stuff out. But I don't decorate big anymore. I used to, but I don't as much as I used to. So I got, and there's a point to this conversation, by the way, folks. So I looked at the fabric, and I saw a beautiful one, and I said, what do you think of this, Dave? And he goes, actually, I like that one. I said, okay, let's see if I can find something to put on the other side, because I was thinking new fall placemats. Now, mind you, I don't need new placemats because I have some I made before. I was just thinking, let's see if we can make something different and just switch things out all the time. That's what I like to do. But you know, the fabric was so thin, I put everything back. And I wasn't mad. I was disappointed because they do have affordable fabric there. I couldn't part with money for stuff that I could see through. And we really need to be able to use the stuff. And what I was going to use it for, I certainly could put batting in the middle and stuff like that. But still, that fabric on the outside was going to wear through really fast. And I just, you know, I put a lot into my sewing. I don't want to be so cheap that my stuff falls apart, you know, because I want it to last. And I did check out their batiks. They had beautiful batiks, but they weren't on sale. So, and their price was reasonable. But it's the same price. Maybe it's a little less expensive than where I get some of my batiks. But, you know, that being said, I didn't get any fabric. And so we're walking out of the store. I had 3 skeins, and I had this little gift for my grandkids. And I said, David, I think there's something wrong. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I just wasn't into shopping. I said, what happened to me these past 2.5 years? And he goes, I don't know. Now, ages ago, I used to love Wendy's Frosties, and I don't like them as much as I used to because they're very filling, and I have tried one, and once in a while I crave them, but then I regret it, and so I don't get them. And he goes, how would you like a Frosty? I said, no, just not into it. Not feeling the love, honey. And so he goes, there is something wrong with you because you're not interested in things that you used to like. I said, well, the Frosty's not a big deal. That has a bunch of junk in it anyway. And I said, considering what I'm fighting, that I need antibiotics for, I said, I can't have that stuff anyway. So we're staying away from anything with sugar, and there's reasons. So I just haven't been able to get the infection gone, so I have to keep working at it. But that's a different story, not for this. And so he says, there really is something wrong. And I said, you know what, though? It's refreshing. He goes, and what do you mean? I said, well, there was nothing in there that was of interest to me. I didn't, you know, the beads, I have plenty of beads at home. Every place I went in that store, I said, nah, I got enough at home. I'm good. And I just, there was some, don't get me wrong, there were some beautiful things. I even looked at the fall paper plates, and I thought, oh, these would be really nice if I don't want to wash dishes. These would be cute. And then that rational person started thinking, nah, I'll just get a big pack at the grocery store and have those on hand if I can't do dishes. And it's really bizarre. I do have some decorative plates still here at the house, and I just couldn't do it. And he's like, something really is wrong with you. He goes, do you want to drive the car? I said, no, just not into it. So I don't know what has happened over the last 2.5 years, but I mean, I did like the thrift store. Not 100%. I don't really love to go into thrift stores. I just like looking for treasures that I can use and that I know I will use. So that's what I like, and they're at prices I can afford. So I was disappointed I didn't get any baskets, but you know, I told my husband, I said, I can create some. He goes, how are you going to create some? And I said, well, I have some scrap fabric, and I have, he goes, you're not going to make a basket out of fabric. I said, so now he has challenged me to do one of the things I've been trying to get to, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So that will be on my challenge, to show him, see, never tell me I can't do something, because I will prove you wrong. But the point of this conversation is, the one thing that I thought about throughout all of this, and more so this morning when I went to my office supply company that I generally purchase my office supplies from. I used to buy the backup discs and the jump drives. You know, the last time I got 10 32 gigs, they were like $48, and I thought back then that was a little pricey. Well, today I looked and they were $89. I just couldn't do it. I told Dave, I said, we're just not going to be able to back things up, because I just won't pay that for these things. And so what it brought up as a conversation for the two of us is, why is everything increasing in price? I don't understand this. I understand the food to some degree, not completely, but to some degree, because most especially with the produce, and it's slowly going up. I mean, a head of lettuce last year was between $1 and $1.50. This year, it's over $3, at least. So I try to buy my mixed greens that I'm not growing and all that, and right now I don't have any growing. And so I'm a little disappointed, but the farmers out west, they've had tons of rain, ruined crops. Tons of heat, ruined crops. My peas died in the sun. So, but I did learn from this, because I learned where I should relocate that plant next year. So I'm not totally disappointed in my gardening efforts, but because I learned. But that's the one thing that we need to be aware of, as you know, a lot of people are saying we're going to have food shortages and stuff. Because what happens, and a lot of people may not understand this, is if a farmer cannot produce this year, you might have plenty of food at your grocery store right now, but they might not have enough they might have nothing next year. So, or even through the winter, because they won't be able to store it and so forth. So that's why I think there will be food shortages. I am not too sure about all the packaged goods. I think some of that is a little, they're just escalating the prices, and some of those raw ingredients, yes, those are going up, and plus to get it to and from places, that's causing the increase as well. So what we've been trying to do is, what do we need? That's what we've been trying to do. And so that whole mindset is going outside the box to even like frivolous things like a basket. Now this is pretty. I do not regret that. Of course, I only spent $2, but I really, really like that. And I'm always looking for quality baskets, not the chintzy ones. And some of the baskets I saw at Big Lots, $20 for something that's going to fall apart. And I just said, I can't do that. And so we're going to wait until either I make something, the challenge is on, or go back to the other place. So we try to be conservative on what we're getting. Like I use molasses a lot. So I try to buy two when I'm replacing one, just to kind of make sure that if I go back there isn't one, I still have at least one. We're trying to do that more with the things that we use. And that's what I recommend, that if you're having a hard time wondering, you go to the store and you don't have something today, what are you going to do? And I know that I'm starting to bring up a little bit about the economy because we really need to be aware of what's going on. And not because to be afraid. God says in His Word that He is there for us. He will provide for us. But He also tells us to prepare. And there are wise ways to prepare. One thing I do with my husband's jeans, when he always has two new ones on hand. So when he opens those two packages, I order two more. That's just how I've done it for years. But if you haven't done that, you might want to consider doing that. But now but he has like about 5 or 6 jeans going all the time, but I always have two. So it's kind of like he has two that are getting old, then it's just kind of a cycle thing that we have developed over the years together of how it works for him. And the same thing with like his shirts and stuff. I buy them used all the time because he never wants long sleeves. And oftentimes, I have bought brand new long sleeve shirts. I cut the sleeves off, but I get them for $5. And that's how I've gotten him some of his short sleeve shirts is I'll buy them for $5, cut the sleeves off, hem them up, and he has his new shirts that he wants. And they're often of the darker color that he likes, whereas in the summer times they're brighter. Although he does like those vacation type shirts that they sell. He loves those shirts. But I haven't seen any lately. But then again, I haven't been in a store in a while. So it's not a big deal. His shirts are doing okay. So time will tell. I'm just going to have to go through, and I do have some things that I can make him so that he has some fresh new shirts or something like that. So, but going back to the groceries, like at Big Lots, when you go to these stores that sell the same items that are in your grocery store, know your grocery store prices, at least for the items that you buy all the time. My husband drinks milk all the time, so he knows the prices. I don't buy it. So I let him be in charge of that. He knows the price of a lot of things because I just like the produce. When I go in the store, he goes to the right and I go to the left, and we meet in the middle. And that's how we shop if I'm going with him. If I ask him to go to the store, I specifically tell him you need to get this, this, and this. And that's all he gets. And I don't make him worry about the price, but I do check the flyer before I ask him to get something. That way he knows. I'll tell him the price should be this. And he goes with that. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's late. I was going to do this earlier, but we had some other things to do, and then I had a doctor's appointment, and then I got home, and then the chickens were very upset that I did not go out there a couple times today. I went out there once, and I went out and fed them some spinach. They had plenty of grain, plenty of water, and it was fresh water. I mean, these girls complain all the time. But basically what they do is they jump all over me. And there's one that I believe came from a different batch of chickens because everything about her looks more mature. And she's getting very moody. Is that right? For anybody who owns a chicken, is that right? I think she's about ready to start laying eggs because, okay, this might be weird, but if females get moody before certain events, I'm thinking chickens might do the same thing. I don't know. So maybe that's why they don't like David as much, because he just doesn't understand. So I'm hoping that tomorrow they're in a better way. I'm hoping the weather is, I don't know if we're getting rain or not, but, and so I'll be around a little bit more for them tomorrow so I could go out twice in the middle of the day. No, I don't spend a lot of time out there. We had hoped, though, that we would have been able to work a little bit more outside, but it was too damp for either of us to get out there and work. So tomorrow I'll just tend to what needs to be done and we'll see what happens. So what I'm trying to say is there are things that we use, like we use honey. So when I can find honey at our local natural food store, I buy 2. And then when I open one, I go and I buy 2 more. And honey comes back in the spring. There's more honey. In the fall, I sometimes can get some as well, depending on the farmer who's selling it. When I go to the apple farm, I can sometimes get honey as well. Because I use honey in some of the meads that I make, and I just make small batches of mead, and I use that for medicinal reasons. And then I use honey in medicine. So, and David uses it in the tea that he drinks that I make him. And so that's that respiratory blend. He drinks that tea all the time. I'm really glad that he is. So he likes that to sweeten, because he's not really a tea drinker, but you put 1 or 2 teaspoons of honey in there and it tastes better, and he's getting that medicinal benefit from the honey. So that's something that I like to make sure I have on hand. Peanut butter. We don't go through tons of peanut butter, but I like making peanut butter cookies. Oatmeal. And so we try to buy basic staples and make sure we have plenty of that on hand, because if there's a day that we just don't have the money to go shopping, I have a little bit. I can make oatmeal cookies, I can make a loaf of bread, and we can have peanut butter and jelly or whatever the case may be, so we're all set. And the other thing that I was bringing up is, because I went to these other stores and how I shop, this is a way I've always shopped for a long time. Although when I was younger, I was a little bit more frivolous, and I just want this, and I've changed my ways. It's like, do I need it? And I've gotten so much better that it's like I don't enjoy shopping the way that others do. And so today when I went to my doctor's appointment, the intake person, she was talking to me because my doctor was running it late. Sometimes that happens. And I said something to her. I said that I had gone to Hobby Lobby, and she goes, "Oh, I just love going to Hobby, whatever." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I did not have fun at all." She goes, "What do you mean? Are you not a crafter?" I said, "No, I make a lot of stuff." But I said, I just did not find it enjoyable. And she goes, "But they have so much." I said, "Yes, they have so much." And I said, "But it's just, I just didn't find the love." So it was weird. I'm sure that in a few months when I need something, I might change my mind or something. But I already have things planned for Christmas. So I don't need anything. And the only things that I think I'm going to be needing, and I have a supplier for this, is my thread and my needles. Because a seamstress goes through needles like there's no tomorrow. You change your needle out after every project, and sometimes projects will break your needles one right after another. And thread. You can never have enough thread. So those are the 2 main items that I'm always making sure I have plenty of. But I can get that from another vendor. So I don't buy those at the stores. And if I do need it, Joann's is down the street. But I haven't been in there in a long time. And there's a lot of people that work that I know. I don't know if they're still working there. It's been 2.5 years. I'll have to reach out and say, "Do you still work there?" But that's just how I've changed. I don't know. I mean, I'm 62. Is it my age? I don't know. Is it the way the world has changed? Maybe. It could be. Or have I simply changed in terms of what's valuable to me? I think more than anything, it's the latter. Because I don't get joy in having stuff. And I do like having quality things. I mean, it's not that I don't like having fabric, because I do. I love working with fabric. And, like I got the boots the other day. That was fun for me. So it's not that I don't shop. It's just that I don't have joy going into stores to shop. But there are some stores that I love to go to. And they're not local. And so I have to try. They're in Maine. And there's some in Vermont that I like to go to. And they're just quaint stores that are unique, that draw me in, and I'm there for a while. There's one or two here in New Hampshire as well, but mostly Maine and in Vermont, and I love these stores. And I can go in there. I don't have to spend a lot, but it's easy to spend a lot in there. And they're just very down-to-earth stores, very, yeah, very earthy, and I think that's what draws me in. And we don't have enough of that. Even in these other shops, I don't find that. So I think it's more of a personality change that's going on in me. But I also am well aware of using the resources for what we need right now because of all that has gone on in our world, all the changes. I want to make sure that it's being used wisely. And I hope that those of you who are following also agree that, do we spend money on, something we're not going to use very often or that could fall apart? Or do we buy something that, a new set of sheets? I mean, my sheets should be fine. I have 2 sets for the summer and 2 sets for the winter. And I'm putting the flannels on tomorrow. I told my husband, I warned him, I said, when you get home tomorrow, flannels are going to be on the bed. He goes, you're going to put them on there. It's going to be 90 degrees out. I said, I don't care. We got fans. I'm okay. So we will, so I'm on the lookout for a fair price for sheets. So when these wear out, that's kind of how I shop. But because I don't need them, I'm not in a hurry to buy these items that are overpriced. So if you're not one that shops like that, consider doing that in terms of being very careful about how you spend your money and set up a budget of what you can do. And it's just beneficial, for you on all the way around. And when you're buying your food, try to focus on the healthy things. I'm going to be sharing a video on some things that I learned about some manufacturers that we think are healthy brands, and they've changed. So I want to share some of that information in another video. But why I'm sharing this is, what is it that's in your cupboards right now that you need and you will use all the time? Focus on those things and try not to be drawn towards the new things. And yes, I can be drawn to some new things, because when I went with my husband the other day, the first time I went into that new grocery store, we went down the aisles because I wanted to see how it was set up, how are the shelves, are they full, all that kind of stuff. And I did. I encountered some things that I said, oh, we could use that. And it wasn't that much until the grocery cart rang up to too much money. But and I stopped and I said, well, I will use these, but I probably won't buy them again unless I find that I really have a love for them. And it wasn't anything that I could make either. It was just kind of like a new thing that was out there. And it was really a healthy product, but, it wasn't something, it's just something I'll add to my cooking. So with all of that, it was fun to get out to the thrift store. Will I go again? I will go to another thrift store. I will only go to Hobby Lobby when their baskets are on sale. And I don't need any of the other items. I think when I get my Cricut out, and I have a Cricut, I haven't really used. I've used it a few times. My daughter was showing me how to use it. And I need to get it out because I haven't used it yet. So she wants me to start using it because she knows that once I get going, I'll have fun. And I got the Cricut that actually cuts out fabric because I bought it specifically so I could do some appliques on some quilts. And that's really why I got it. And I'm glad I did, because the price of them are insane now. So at least I got that part done. But I should have used it. If I buy something, I want to make sure I'm using it. So that's the other thing that I'm doing, is I'm going through what I already have. And that could be the factor in when I go shopping. Do I really need it? So, and did I need t-shirts? I did. I love wearing t-shirts. So they aren't what I would have bought, but they, normally, but for $1.50, I really don't care. If I have to go work with the chickens, do you think I want to be wearing a $20 t-shirt? Not really. So, but anyways, I hope that you are being very much aware of what's going on out there. This is not to fear you or anything. I'm hoping that you are taking time to reevaluate what you do purchase. And as you buy one, you buy an extra one to have kind of like a side, because a lot of people have apartments. They don't have a house. I mean, we have a small house, so I don't have a lot of storage. And then there's some people that can stock up quite a bit, because, and plus if they have big families, of course they're going to do that. So just be wise about how you're spending and use it to your advantage. So if you can't get to the store and you get there and they don't have any milk, do you have powdered milk on hand? And do I think these shortages will last a long time? I honestly, I do not know. All I know is that it's really wise if you can have a garden, or if you can work with somebody in their garden. That might be helpful. And right now we're heading into fall winter, so there's not much growing happening here in New Hampshire. You know, think about those things. Or, and I think I've shared in other videos, get something small that you can grow, even if it's just your herbs. Do something like that, and you'll feel better about having life growing inside your home, and that can be exciting. So, and the other thing is, folks, our electric company is talking about the prices. They're really gearing up for a really bad winter, for high fuel prices. For me, I'm very concerned about that, and that could have been another factor that I wasn't even aware of. Another factor of why I just wasn't in the mood to spend a lot of money, because I have to stop and think about how I'm going to pay the bill. Our bill is already over $100, maybe $150 a month. I'm not sure we can do $300 a month for fuel. So that's why buying these extra t-shirts to wear under another t-shirt, to wear underneath a sweatshirt or a fleece jacket or whatever, is really wise. So if you don't have a fleece jacket, make sure you have one of those, or a sweatshirt that you enjoy. Kind of go through your closet, see what you have. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy new things. Take inventory of what you already have and how you might be able to stay warm. The only thing I go through really fast in the winter are my socks. Because in the summer I go barefoot in the house, but in the fall, winter into early spring, I'm in socks all the time, and I wear them out all the time. So I'm going to have to start knitting my own socks, I think. So anyways, I hope this was informative. And I mean, I did say I wanted to go thrift shopping, and I did. I hope to go again, but we are so busy here trying to get some things taken care of before the real cold weather gets here, and it's already coming in. So, and I'm hoping it doesn't rain tomorrow, because I saw that there's a lot of tomatoes I need to get out and pick. And I think I'm going to have to pick the green ones, but I think that's it of what I have out there. I think I have a few more white eggplant that I might have to, and I have some okra that I might have to pick, but I think maybe a couple of peppers, but that's it. So I didn't get a lot of squash, so I'm going to have to go back to the farm stand before too long, and I want to go to the apple farm, and they're open now. So if I can, I'm hoping to get a couple half bushels, or at most 2 bushels of apples. So I've got to see what's going on in that area. And then sometimes they also have tomatoes, so I can buy a couple bushels of those if I want them. But I think I'm all set on tomatoes. We do not eat a lot of tomato dishes throughout the winter months and stuff. But, you know, considering that I'm not buying any canned soups or any stuff like that, I might want some extra tomatoes. So it depends. I have some things that I need to work on tomorrow. Tomorrow I think I'm going to work on spaghetti sauce. I've been kind of procrastinating a little bit, but tomorrow will be a good day to make some spaghetti sauce. And I'll have to can it up or freeze it. I haven't decided which. I'm going to can it up. I don't want my freezer full of that. And but it won't be a huge batch. So it might just be a couple of pints that I can up. So those are the type of things that I'm doing. And I realize some people do not have canners or pressure canners and stuff like that. But you can freeze, when you make tomato sauce, you can freeze them in the freezer by putting them in Ziploc freezer bags. You can put them in that. And they do have jars that you can put in the freezer. Just make sure you leave plenty of headspace. Otherwise you get an explosion, a frozen explosion that you really don't want. And let's see, other things that you can do. Just be wise and try to be very economical in what you are purchasing, and know that you don't need that frivolous item today. What you need is warmth for the winter, socks, underwear, blankets if you don't have enough or if they're all worn, you know, pants, jeans. I got my husband his new jeans, so he's all set. That kind of stuff is what's important right now. And but you know, what's important to me may not be important for you. And I just want to say, with the food shortages and the supply shortages, and I won't go on into any political thing, but what's happening now is just for right now. This thing will pass, and we need to be optimistic about that and focus on the good and focus on those in your life that bring you joy. So I am going to end this, and I hope and I pray that you have a restful evening, and I also pray that God blesses you abundantly. Enjoy and stay well.